Take control. Morning everybody and welcome to the British Rental Kart Championship 2016, finally underway here at Formula Fast in Milton Keynes. It's going to be a great event. It's the beginning of the first day. I'm joined by Anwar Barul-Smith and Sean Briley, who will also be racing the event as well as commentating. Guys, we've got quite a heck of an event to look forward to. I mean, the 2016 event, bigger and better than before, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be quite a long weekend for a lot of people.
Oh, very much.
It's going to be a lot of waiting around, but at the same time I think it's going to build the anticipation a lot more for some of the tough races that are coming up, so it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. What do you feel, Sean?
We've got a whole new bunch of Europeans coming in. Obviously there's no Gruton or Laporte this year, but we do have Regis Goslin, who I don't believe was here last year, Connie Snoop, and a whole lot of very
these are all
quick
guys
drivers
that we've raced against in Europe, and we know they're fast. There's actually no world champion present except for the ladies world champion, former champion, Annelien Boutens, I believe. So no actual world champions in the event, but we'll see how they go. There are a few things that are new for this year, particularly with the pit stops. That's going to cause some interest, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I know myself and Sean practicing yesterday. We're trying out pit stops, and I think it's definitely a more slicker system. You know, it's certainly more reliable, and I think Formula Fast put a lot of money into trying to make sure that it's on point. So to be honest with you, I think it's going to be an added benefit this year.
Well, the basic point of people. The idea was you came into the pit and you made a stop. There was some discrepancy over actually what stopped wasn't there? You know, the cart's no longer moving and the wheels have ceased to turn is normally the definition. But this time with the laser pit stops, they've actually got to break a laser beam for a certain amount of time. So some people may even just crawl through quite slowly, others will be stopping early and then going, and others will be
absolutely. There's going to be a lot of different tactics, I think, with it. But like you said, it removes the human element, the human error. You know. So.
Do you think there'll be some different ideas going into the event, Sean? But everyone will end up pretty much doing the same thing for the final when it comes to pit stops.
Well, with pit stops yesterday, Anwar and I were in the same practice, and we ended up doing the same thing. With the first pit stops, only is about a second and a half to get through it. The light, the time you're on red is significantly less than the second pit stop, which means you were able to almost coast through. With the second one, tried it the first two times, and I broke the barrier on both, and may have got penalised.
You would have picked up a belt in the race.
But coming down to it, I think you'll find that most people will slam on the brakes hard and then start to build up speed and hopefully just leave as it turns to green and get back.
It's going to be interesting to see who flies close to the wire on that. I mean, you mentioned yesterday you saw an individual, literally doing a rapid pit stop but blowing both of the stops, And, I mean, again, that's practice. They're trying the limits, but it's going to be interesting to see who really wants to push it that hard.
Absolutely, and pushing it hard yesterday, and would have picked up a double penalty, shall we say, was double champion Ruben Boutens. So if he can sort of cut it fine, then that's out to anybody. And there are 100 drivers in it, and plenty of scope for people who are getting it right, getting it wrong, and having different ideas. Interestingly, it's not an event multi-class like you get a lot of karts. We've got top three trophies for the top three, £1,000 prizes, for the winners, and of course entries into the World Championship. That's got to be something to go for, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the guys will, especially some of the guys who maybe haven't experienced that, will be aiming for that. I think it'd be nice to see maybe someone who hasn't been to a World Championship yet get in that top three and win that place and see how they get on.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Especially a British driver, because it's representing
me and you have been. We know what it's like. It's a different level, isn't it?
Hard,
it's going to be even more. It's going to be even more difficult this year, especially with the shifter karts that they'll find in Italy if they do go and they're new to this. It's going to be one steep learning curve.
Oh, big time. Of course, there's a couple of extra trophies as well up for grabs. There's the Cam Ho Memorial Trophy, which is for 28th place. Cam Ho was a regular in the BRK series and actually joined us for the World Championship as well. Unfortunately, he died while competing in in a kart event, his best place was 28th in the BRKC. That's the trophy there. The Genevieve Reason Trophy. Genevieve was an employee here and a friend of everybody, and unfortunately she was killed in a road accident in the summer. And her trophy is going to the person we believe puts up the most determined performance in line with how Genevieve was as a person. And actually, sort of going forward to those commentator picks, I'm thinking, it's going to be between Lee Hackett and Ruben Booten. We're going to come on to that in a second for the win. As far as I'm concerned, it could be anybody, of course, but I'm particularly liking Ben Greenwood as a bit of a wild card. He's kind of come from nowhere. I mean, he's been had some results in the 24-hour race, but what do you think he can do?
Well,
we don't know him, do we?
I think he's friends with Lewis Manley, who's obviously a regular around here. He's obviously picked up some tips here and there. He's done, according to Lewis, he's done quite a few Fast Fridays. Right. He's even gifted Lewis a suit, so they have some pre-existing relationship together. But he was topping practice for almost all of yesterday, I think, until the very last heat, when Lee Hackett, who we were just speaking about, pipped him by a 10th, if that.
Yeah.
But we also know, I mean, you throw someone like that into a situation with, Ruben Booten's, Stefan Verhoef's, maybe Sander Debates.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. So I think it's hard to tell from practice times from yesterday. What we'll have to do is just wait and see how his first races go. Yeah. And then I think we'll have a good idea of how he's going to get on. But to be honest, you're right.
He was fifth, but sure. that was yesterday.
Yeah.
This is today.
Exactly.
Who do you feel could be worthy of watching that we maybe not know thought of before?
I mean, there's a few people who I think perhaps maybe are going to be worth watching. I mean, Robert Duma certainly has got some good results under his belt.
Yeah, Polish Speedway rider he is. So,
exactly. Michael O'Brien, current lap record holder.
Yes.
Can't argue with that. Johnny Elliott had a great run last year. I mean, considering the heats that he had and some of the tough drivers he was up against, he'll be obviously a lot more interested in some of the races he's got this year for sure.
Absolutely.
And then Matt Barsh as well. I mean, he was so quick last year, and I think he was quite unfortunate when it came to the final. So, he's got to be one to watch.
That's a good choice there, and I'm particularly picking back on O'Brien. He set a new outright circuit record on during the week. Not even part of the testing. Just he came down there and banged in a quick one. Johnny Elliott. Well, frankly, Johnny's got his head much more together this year. It seems way more serious about his racing and more about. More comfortable in himself, and I think he might show something we're waiting for.
I'm pretty sure it'll have a lot to do with his last season. Obviously, he became the 2015 heavyweight Club 100 champion.
Right. Yeah.
I think having that behind him, the mentality has really pushed him to sort of get that extra 10th here and there.
Yeah. He's shown form, but seems to get down a little bit easier than we might think. And
I think that's going to be the trick. That's definitely going to be a trick with Johnny. Is that he needs to keep his head in the game, and if something's not going his way, he can go off the boil, so to speak. So he needs to try and keep his head. One more that I was going to mention as well was Regis Gosselin.
Yes, Regis Gosselin.
We know how quick
he's
he is.
Very, very fast.
Yeah.
So, but again, he's not been here before.
Exactly.
We could have a sprint.
But remember last year, Grooten hadn't been here before and qualified pole for us. Won his first year.
Yeah, absolutely. He is Matthias Grooten, though, isn't he?
So, I was going to say Matthias Grooten's. He's
just
not human, really. Isn't he?
Well, we were joking earlier that Matthias Grooten's not here, but he might still win.
Yeah, he might still win.
Sean, who do you feel?
I have only one person really in mind, and he's a very sporadic driver. It really depends on his mentality. He's the person I feel most affected by mentality, and that's Sam Spinell. I've seen him. I went to Eupen with him for the European Championships, and I raced him, and he was flying. I couldn't get near him, and then he came here. He didn't quite have his head right, and he suffered. So if he gets his head right, he's one person who could win any heat he's put into. He could win the final. He's definitely a wild card for the championship for me.
Fantastic. Guys, we need to obviously wrap up now. One of our key points that we are going to be looking at and following is going to be definitely the first to three titles. It's going to be between Lee Hackett and Ruben Booten. There's only been 5 BRKC championships so far, but incredibly, we've had 2 double winners. And but Lee, he scored his results when it was an outdoor multi-venue championship. Ruben Booten is a double winner here, of course. Guys, we were talking earlier about some potentials for serious heat. We isolated, although it's very even this year, much more even than before. We have isolated round 1 heat 10 and round 3 heat 3. Is that right? We've got the lineups here.
Round 1 heat 10 looks like a very tough one. Ed White. who went very well last year.
Absolutely.
You know, and in fact probably could have won it if it wasn't for, you know, maybe
Yeah.
a slight leaving the door open on a few occasions in the final. But
Yeah.
Ramon as well, who, you know, we know is a very quick driver.
Absolutely,
yeah. Colin Brown, slight, I think, unknown quantity in the sense that we know how good he is in his history.
He is.
But I don't know if he's had very much track time around the circuit.
FIA World Champion in 2000,
Exactly.
but that was outdoor with
Yeah.
a powerful car. This
Yeah.
is indoor type.
Corner Snoop, Tyler Mays and Lewis Manny as well, you know, is going to be obviously on top of his game. So,
Right.
So that looks like a very strong heat.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be keeping an eye out on it, and please follow us during the day with the 2016 BRKC Championship. Thank you very much.